What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you probably can tell from the thumbnail, I just got myself a new project car. This time it's actually a completely free old Volkswagen Golf that I got from a family friend of ours. I tried to offer them payment, but they refused. They were just happy to get rid of the car, and I've actually been looking for a red sun-faded paint that I can do a polishing video on or a full detail video on, so I'm super excited for this one. And this one has actually been sitting for a couple of years, so the first challenge is to just get it started and get it home to the garage. But before I even go ahead and try to start it, let's check so that the most crucial fluids are topped off. That is the engine oil and the transmission oil, first of all. The dipstick on the engine oil was completely dried, so I just started to fill it up until I could read a marking on it. I actually ended up putting in almost 3 liters of oil, so it pretty much was empty with oil, probably enough to just get some oil circulating and just enough to get some oil pressure. But yeah, I almost put in 3 liters of brand new oil in the engine. The dipstick for the automatic transmission did have some reading on it, so I know that there's at least fluid in there, and to get an accurate reading you need to check it when the engine is on and the transmission is warm. So let's wait with that. So now we can go ahead and try to start it with a help vehicle. And as we can see, it started actually relatively easily, and the alternator is also charging the battery, so that's a good sign. So now that we know that the engine is able to start, let's fill it up with some coolant as well, because the reservoir was completely empty. I ended up putting in around 2 liters of coolant in the system. Then just squeezing the hoses to bleed out the bubbles. And now for the real test, let's see if it can move under its own weight. And at least reverse is functioning, so that's a good sign, because this is an automatic gearbox. As we can see, the years of sitting is definitely showing its signs. This is a single stage red paint, and those are usually very satisfying to do a polish on. And as we can see here, no visible leaks, which is just absolutely fantastic. I wasn't expecting that, considering the fluids were so low, but yeah, no leaks. And of course, the gas tank was also empty, so let's go ahead and fill it up with 10 liters of fuel so that we can make the journey home. But before we go on the 20-mile journey, let's just take it for a quick test drive to make sure that it can run through the gears and it doesn't have any overheating problems or anything like that. That would make the journey impossible. The first impressions is that it's actually functioning pretty well, considering it's been sitting for many years. And now, after the initial test drive and the engine and transmission up to operating temperature, I had 1 bottle of transmission fluid, so I just filled it up and I got a marking or a reading between the min and the max mark. So we finally made it to the garage in one piece. It actually went along pretty well, better than I expected. The brakes aren't functioning the way they should. You know, the car's been sitting for a couple of years, so there's a lot of rust that has formed on the brake rotors. a lot of rust pitting, and the brake pads has probably seized in there a little bit, so the braking was actually pretty terrible. So I made sure I drove slowly and I used roads that weren't heavily trafficked. Then there were some noises coming from a wheel bearing, but other than that, it actually went along very well. The automatic gearbox is working the way it should, and the engine seems in a pretty good shape, so that was a pleasant surprise. So yeah, this was only an introduction video. The next one, or in the next videos with this car, is going to be of detail. I'm gonna do a full detail of this car and polish this red faded nasty paint. As we can see, it has some moss and algae going on right here, so that will always also be a challenge to clean off, but I think it will come out pretty good in the end. Not perfect, obviously, it's a very old car, but I think the difference between the before and after will be pretty significant. So I'm super excited to see how this thing turns out in the end. And if you don't want to miss, and you're interested in seeing the full detail video of this car, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you look forward to the next videos with this car. So yeah, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.